of God or the right side for not
because there's
believing in God. But I always say this: life is based on choices you make. Choices can lead you to success. Choices can lead you behind bars, or choices can lead you 6 feet under. So it's up to you.
Choices are not even all that. They don't even
I
have to
mean,
be all
yeah,
that dramatic, by the
yeah,
way.
but it's up to you what choice you want to live by. But in a sense, and see, this is another thing I get mad at certain people that they say that the people they man of God, woman of God. I say, don't say that because you're basically saying I'm a woman or a man of God, but you still participate in other stuff which God wouldn't really want you to do.
Those are called hypocrites.
Yeah,
Yeah, or I mean, but here's the thing. I mean, but like with anybody, everybody's flawed. I mean, you could say at best that you're trying to what the term is work out your salvation, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean that you're not striving to do the best you can. But,
So you
but
want
you just don't want to be like. See, the problem is.
So here's let me break it down real quick. So you want to tell the difference between someone who's an actual Christian and someone who's not a Christian. And they're hard to tell at times, but one of the biggest distinction is a pattern of unbroken sin. Right? Christians repent. What does repent meaning? It means making a 180 on sin, which means you're actively turning.
Did you exactly right? Damn.
Actively turning from sin to
Not
God.
to cut you off, Victor. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all
That-
right.
You got some weak bones, bro.
No. So
Well, here's the thing. Actually, it turns out when your bones crack, it's little air pockets that are popping that make that cracking noise.
he ain't lying. It's snap.
No,
crackle,
that's not what I'm laughing about. I'm laughing about he finishes his sentence with a burp.
It's called a period.
Exactly. Keep going.
But and what I'm saying is it's essentially unbroken sin, right? So if someone says they're a Christian but they keep doing, let's say someone's a Christian but they keep stealing, right? It doesn't matter what they're stealing. Stealing's wrong, and it's in the Ten Commandments: "Thou shalt not steal," right? And we've all stolen in our lives at one point, right? But my point is,
Fortunately, true.
yeah. But my point is we don't do that anymore,
Facts.
right? But someone who says, "Oh, I believe in Christ," but they still continue to steal, that person's a hypocrite and a liar, right? That's someone who doesn't really believe. But someone who does believe is going to turn away from their sin and turn to God. That's a real big difference. But that's not always easy to see. Someone can say all the right words, all the right phrases, even memorize the Bible from first to last word. That doesn't mean that they're a believer, though.
Right.
Because there's intellectual. It's just intellectual. It's not real belief.
Right.
The biggest one, even though I just said the other one was the biggest one, the other biggest one is how they handle trials and tribulation.
That's a fact.
That's the biggest.
That's
You want to
a
see?
fact.
You want to know the three biggest hallmarks of a Christian? It's simple. The first one is love, specifically in the church.
Right.
Right, but for others and strangers as well. The second one is patience,
Right.
and the third is endurance. Right. So a Christian, so somebody who loves, to the best of their capabilities, right? That's one of the marks of being a Christian. But patience is another one, because even the Bible says when you pray and you pray for something or someone, you need to be patient. Because God is not a genie. You don't rub the cross 3 times. Jesus pops out and says, "What can I do for you?"
Yeah, but,
No.
but people think of it like that.
No.
They think it's like, well, he'll just automatically come up blessing if I do this.
Well, that's because
Not
it's
how
people
it
like
works.
Joel Osteen, right? But it's not like that. He says you pray constantly, consistently, and patiently, and it will be answered.
Pray without ceasing.
Yeah, pray without ceasing. You need to pray, and you need to actually pray. No, not just mutter a verse that you've memorized from heart, because that's not prayer. That's just you're reciting words. Prayer comes from the heart.
Correct.
Right. So that's one of the marks. And the third one I said is endurance, as in enduring life in general, enduring the trial, enduring just endurance. Why do you endure? Because of faith. Where does your faith come from? It's put in you from God. That's how you endure. So patience and endurance is a mark of someone who really believes, right? People who call themselves Christians but lose their temper like that, or people who crumble under trials or tribulations, they never really believed.
That's true.
Right. So that's like big of the hallmarks. Like say, Lord forbid this happens to any of us anytime soon. We go to the hospital, we find out that we got a cancer of sort, right? Most people.
English, nah.
No, of course not. But I'm just saying, if that were to happen, that's a serious trial of belief right there.
Right.
Because God, I believe in you. I did all these things. Like why are you doing this to me? If you start collapsing into why God, why God, why God, that means you don't really understand God's character.
True.
This could be of him doing that to you. Hopefully not, but him doing that to you could be a result of a few things. One of them is he's trying to destroy sin in your life, as in he's trying to help. He's weaning things off from you that he doesn't want you to help you turn to him. In a time like this, you're going to absolutely turn to him.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Right. Another one is you're becoming too prideful or arrogant. And you don't have any right to be prideful or arrogant because all good things are from him, all strength is from him, and all faith is from him. Therefore, he says, when you believe, that belief is from him, so no man may boast. No man can be arrogant. So he could be humbling you. Some people say, well, that seems a bit extreme. Sometimes some people really need to be put on the brink of death to shut up.
That's true.
So that's another thing. Or the third one is he just may want you to know that you're saved. Right. By that I mean, when you're in a trial and your first instinct is to turn to God and thank him for a trial, to pray to get through it, that's someone of genuine belief. Because there are people out there who are saved, but they don't really know it because, let's face it, it gets really hard in the world and it's not necessarily easy. So you may have doubts of your salvation. Trials do a lot of things, but one of them is also to convince the believer that they are saved because of how they react to the trial. So when your first instinct for any trouble is just to turn to God, thank him, pray for strength, pray for endurance from him to you to get through it for his glory, that's a sign that you really are saved. Because
that's the lesson. That is the lesson.
Yeah, because God knows who belongs to him.
Yep.
He knew everyone who was going to belong to him before the earth was even made.
Yep.
Right? So he knows who's in his hand and who's not. Right? But obviously not everyone else knows that. Right?
That's true.
So those who go through things and curse God never believed. Even they went to church their whole life, they read the Bible many times. That meant nothing because their heart wasn't there.
Of course.
But there are people who, there are people who seem robotic or cold or distant, but they really are saved because they really believe. Right. It's not just what you do amongst people, but in private.
Exactly.
It's both. It's your life. I don't, listen to sermons, go to church and all that, and then I go home and I think, well, that kind of sounded kind of dumb. No, I believe it happened.
Right.
It's all about. Everyone deep down knows whether they really believe or not.
Right.
Deep down. They may fool themselves, but this is where trials come in. Trials are extremely important in the Christian life.
Exactly.
They're extremely important.
Because it builds your character and perseverance. But you have to go through it because, again,
of course,
like we said before, you will go through the same lesson over.
Because what did Christ say? He said, if any man wish to follow me, let him take up his cross. God said it, it's, there's this thing where said, God has one son who is without sin.
True.
But he has he has one son who is without sin, and he has many sons who are forgiven of their sins. But he does not have a single son who does not have a cross.
That's true.
Now, obviously, if you hear this and your first instinct is, oh, I got to go get myself a trial, just be patient. Things are going to happen, don't. If times are good, enjoy it. Because good times, like bad times, aren't forever. Don't be foolish going out there seeking, oh man, I got to get my ass kicked to prove my loyalty to God. No, don't do that. Don't be foolish. That goes back to patience.
That's true.
You okay?
Oh, bro, I'm just sitting right here listening to you preach, man. This is like, man, I'm just tuned in because everything you're saying is really, really true.
Yeah. But so we don't jump right in. So
hold on, let's sign our phones real quick.
Yeah, we Gucci. But for everybody chiming in, this is our pre-show. Land Pipe of the PBC crew. We are that squad. Of
You
course.
still hungry?
That's who didn't like jack the gum. Didn't even ask the kid. Can I get a piece of? I don't care. I don't care. I'm just giving you a hard time.
He don't care so much. He asked him.
Exactly.
Look at that face. Can you say no to that face?
Play too much.
That's right.
But this is episode 43, Land Pipe of the PBC crew. Of course, I'm rocking with my squadron. Of course, I just want to chime in. Y'all just saw a little bit of the pre-show. We just chime in, and this is what we do on the pre-show. We just kind of chop it up, go into our, side topics before we get into our couple of main topics that we get into.
Well, there's always plenty to talk about.
But yeah, we got a lot to jump in, got a lot to discuss, of course. But before we do,
How we do
for
it,
the man who stole my gum, this like chewing gum on camera. You know better.
He puts it back in the wrapper, puts it back in the box.
Exactly, chewing gum on camera and stuff.
Look, if we're gonna be talking, brother Brett gotta make sure it smells good.
You got
I
that.
want my brother to be like, woo!
You got that pizza breath.
Yeah.
I ain't even mad at it. But go ahead, Paul, man. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? Glad you guys are tuning in for episode 43. It's another beautiful Saturday sitting at the table with my boys. We rocking it. We doing our thing. And shout out to everybody who's been watching us and got at 36 subscribers.
36, man.
Making it thing. And then we getting people subscribing to our Twitch channel as well. So much love and respect to you all. So thank you for tuning in with us. I'm going to pass this to my boy Vic. Vic will say what's up to the peoples.
Greetings, everybody. Glad to be back at it again on February 18th, Saturday, 2023. I don't know why I said the whole date here.
No, we're going to be big.
But
it's like,
It's cool. We're going to keep it in.
we got to be somewhere on that date.
But I'm glad to be back at it again. We all had a little nice lunch right now and we're ready to get into it. There's, as always, plenty to talk about. We're going to talk about a few things here and there. There's no real solid topic today, but we do have many topics to talk about. We hope you stay and we hope you enjoy what we have to talk about. Please leave comments below. Please interact. Even if it's just to say how much we suck, it's encouraged. So let me pass the mic over to Cam here, the MC.
Dang, I haven't heard that in a long time. But y'all know who I be. Cam, a.k.a. Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh. Follow me on the gram and all that good stuff. You know how we get down. It's definitely a privilege and an honor to do this. It's crazy. First of all, shout out to everybody who is watching along on the Twitch podcast. Of course, we definitely appreciate y'all rocking along. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, y'all can always drop it down below. We definitely can read them on the fly, of course. For all the people who will be catching us on the YouTube page, definitely appreciate all the subscribers on the YouTube page. We appreciate every single one of y'all doing that. If y'all have any questions, concerns, y'all already know what to do as well. Leave comments down below. Hit us on the social medias and all that good stuff. We definitely reach out. We definitely talk back. Fellas.
What's up?
Let's start here.
Where is here?
In the hood. Gentrification. Let's start here. Let's start with, can we tag into it a little bit?
What?
About the balloons being shot down and all that stuff.
Oh!
Now they're talking about like all this UFO and we shooting down UFOs and stuff.
Okay.
What we got going on here?
Okay, so before this conversation really starts, let me clarify something. So the term UFO has been just universally tied to aliens.
Facts.
That's what people think of when they hear the word UFO. Mm-hmm. Although, by definition, that's not what that means.
Facts.
It means unidentified flying object, right? Which was like the balloon that was shot down. They didn't know what it was, so they destroyed it. Right? As you should when you got something spying on you. I'm not saying it's not aliens. I personally don't believe in aliens. I personally don't think they're real. And if they are, it doesn't really change anything.
That's right.
Right? Because, look, dude, if we find out aliens exist tomorrow, I'm afraid the price of eggs is still going to be $8.
Talk that egg talk. First of all, that's a fact. So what you think, Paul? What we doing with this?
What are we doing, Paul?
Oh, there's a phrase, Antichrist. But, people always jump to conclusion, maybe it's a UFO, or maybe it's a spy ship, or maybe it's just a big balloon just floating in there, and then we just shot it down because we didn't know what the hell it really actually was.
You see the movie Up?
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Talk that up.
But here's my thing. We all, at the end of the day, we all knew what it was. Chinese were spying on us. Let's just get that clear.
Of course.
It was in a balloon.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
No.
It was taken care of.
For now.
So, let's not jump to conclusions saying it was a damn alien spaceship.
Well, okay.
I mean, God forbid,
God forbid, next thing you know, we're going to be seeing floating.
No. It's not that.
I mean, I get it. People are entitled to their opinions on what they believe and stuff like that. But if you sitting here, now you thinking it's a damn UFO. First of all, UFOs don't look like that.
No,
Ain't no bloom.
here's the thing. Everybody swears that it's like Independence Day. People swear that we got to have a Will Smith, we got to fly off, and we got to blow up this whole big old huge spaceship.
So now we're gonna get everybody.
We drop the beam down.
What's it
and
called?
We blow up
Eagle.
It's like the problem is like, dude,
Night 1 Fox 3. That's where we going.
Exactly.
So okay.
Great
so
movie, by the way.
The people who are
One of my
concerned.
favorites.
One of my favorites.
The people who are concerned about China spying on us with a balloon. That's not what we should be worried about. If you're worried about being spied on, we're being spied on plenty through a little app called TikTok.
That's a fact.
That's legit, just Chinese spyware. I'm not even joking.
That's a fact.
I'm not. It's not a joke. It's not conspiracy theory. They're not even hiding it. They're just like, go ahead, use it. Why do you think there's so many like face scanning apps and whatnot?
Yeah, because
it's all spy. It's all information delving.
Exactly.
They have the information of millions of Americans.
That is
right. And there's a reason this app is banned for people who work in the government.
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'll give you one better when it comes to TikTok, and people really don't understand. You know that Chinese version of TikTok is different than everybody else's.
Oh,
right?
I've heard about this.
No, it's a fact.
No. It's a thing where the Chinese version of TikTok, because kids use it over there,
Right.
is very educational.
Yep.
It's very educational, and they can only use it for about half an hour a day.
Yep.
It talks about museums, science, history.
Yeah, it's a learning tool for them.
Yeah, it's probably a little influenced propaganda like everything else.
It
but
is.
Could they get charged for that?
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
they'll charge for the app itself,
App itself.
but the way that they use TikTok is completely different than what we use
Yeah.
TikTok. So we use TikTok for all the toxic stuff. We think that we're learning this and learning that, and then to a certain degrees, the answer to that is going to be yes, but it is not streamlined. So we get caught up in promoting ourselves and showing ourselves and all that stuff. We get caught up in the superficial stuff where they're literally talking about on their TikTok what's presented to their kids is like, you need to learn about this museum, you need to learn about this history, you need to learn about our culture, you need to learn about how your math, all this stuff is all ran on their particular TikTok, which is completely different than ours.
Yeah, what's crazy about it is essentially they have the version which I would say is a healthy version, which is designed to build up.
Right.
It's designed to increase your intelligence, or you learn a new fact of the day or something. It's designed to be useful, while this one is designed to break people down.
Right.
This one, let's face it, Western TikTok, I would not say has been beneficial to society.
Learn about that.
You've seen a lot of the TikTok trends.
But think about it though. Think about.
I'm telling you this much, man. Kids would not have been filing their teeth down if it were not for a TikTok trend.
Right.
One or two of them may well still done it. That's just how they are. But my point is I can't really see a positive influence from this thing.
Social media.
Just in general, like you say, social media. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you could. Social media for a lot of. It's weird because social media is like the great unifier and the great separator.
It's a septic tank.
So what do I mean? So what do I mean by the great unifier and the great separator? Social media is a great unifier because it's the one place where ultimately, if we needed to link up and not be in the same vicinity like we are right now, if we needed like 100 of us, social media could get 100 of us in front of us.
Like a Zoom thing,
So it's a great unifier. But it's the great separator because everything that is really discussed up on social media, the way that we do it, at least in the US, is really causes divide. Every single conversation piece is a conversation that causes division one way or another. There's division when it comes to what we think about in sports. It's a division when it comes to what we think about in relationships. It's a division of even the simple stuff like food. You'd be like, well, this is how I make my macaroni and cheese.
And people will literally...
And people will fight you over...
Oh, that ain't the way.
That ain't the way we do macaroni and cheese in the South.
We got 7 different kinds of cheese.
But we learned it
and we
from
put
people who was from the South.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's better or worse. But see how that conversation
I can see what you're
people?
saying. So it unifies people of the same opinion.
Right.
It unifies them, makes them into this little group, and it heavily increases the division of people with different opinion. So through its unification, it's creating significant division because it's not encouraging civilized conversation or exchange of ideas. It's encouraging essentially echo chambers.
Right. And you said one key thing. Civilized conversation. Because the one thing that we don't do on social media is have a civilized conversation. Because you got your people who have differences of opinions. Mm-hmm. And then they're gonna butt heads because everybody swears that they're right. Well, and they don't want to be like, well, let me at least keep in consideration what you're thinking.
No, that's true. That is true.
I consider every single option. That doesn't mean I think you're right. I just think that I'm at least be willing to listen to what you're saying versus like,
I mean,
I hate what
you and everybody's entitled to their opinion. And it's like, okay, let's say for instance, I'm going to post something. Okay, I checked in at such and such. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I checked in at this such and such. But it's like, okay, well, does it make a difference where you check in? This is where I checked in. So if you like where I am, you like where I don't like it. But see, another thing too about social media, is that people go on social media just either to vent or just post anything, just basically get all their words out.
But you notice a lot of people on social media. I know it's kind of like turning the conversation. Some people want to come back. You notice a lot of people when they go on social media, they typically go on there from a negative standpoint.
Yeah.
Well,
because they go onto social media initially negative, trying to look for something positive in a negative space because you're already in a negative position. So when people are in a negative position, well, I'm mad at this person or I'm mad at my job. What's the first thing they do? I'm mad at my job. So I'm going to look up my job and see what other people think about the job. Because I want somebody to feel what I feel, and so they'll look at it. So, well, this happened at my job. Our water main break at the job. This really did happen, by the way. So certain people will, certain of us, we get a kick out of it. Like, hey, look, it happened. We giggle, joke, it happened. Mm-hmm. But there's other people who be like, dang, it's always something happening at the job. So they go on social media, post what happens. And then they look for other people who went through similar situations, trying to feed into that negative. Does that make sense? Not thinking that, it happened. Nobody got hurt. Yeah. Everybody survived. Right. Nobody talked about it in a positive sense because there's a lot of bad things that could have happened in that situation. But people go into social media looking for the negative. You see this in relationship stuff all the time.
You know what I just realized?
We're going to go there a little bit later.
I feel like he was going to go there.
Hold on. I just realized this now. Or just reminded me. People treat social media like a diary or a journal.
It is.
And that's the problem. Because you know what the thing about diaries and journals are? You're the only one who read it. You're the only one who knew about it.
Right.
It was for you and you alone. Social media, it's in the title, is a social medium, which means there's plenty of more people involved, right? And when you go in there, like you said, with your negative attitude, think you're venting, you're looking for someone to not fix your negativity, but feed into it, which is easy enough because people tend to be more miserable nowadays for various reasons. You're not going to come out of that feeling better.
Right.
And when all you do is feed negativity, all you're doing is just building up the bile, right? And you're just going to feel more and more worse. This is just generally anything, not even just work. People ruin their weeks from video games.
That's fair.
They will ruin this is why I have greatly receded back into playing video games. I still play them. They're still an enjoyment of mine. But when you treat something as it is, an enjoyment, that's what it becomes.
But on the flip of it, it's not the fact that they ruin it because of gaming per se. What happens is it's the toxicity of playing with other people who feeds into that negative of playing said game. Meaning that you're trying to play a game of Call of Duty, and all you hear is F this, N-bomb this, cracker that, this, that. You hear a whole bunch of that stuff on there.
I know. You ain't lying.
I'm not.
Especially in Call of Duty.
I'm not even trying to be funny. We're on Twitch platform. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch, by the way. We're on the platform where we could basically show another person's channel playing, and this is what you're going to get. We could be. thankfully, there's not a bunch of people on our thread right now, but you could go on other people's thread and 30% of it will be positive and 70% will be negative for nothing. For nothing. For somebody doing the right thing. Now, there's certain things that people do on social media that is pure negative, and they know that they're negative because they want to try to drive their numbers because they know that because social media is tend to be a negative space, people feed into that negativity for views.
And remember what we talked about the last
for all that stuff.
People do anything for views.
Yeah, it's like I said, views is the new currency. Views has more value than money at this point in time right now, which is stupid, but it's factual.
It's just really unfortunate that people, in a really messed up and strange way, love negativity. Like they love the downfall of people, especially if this person's popular, right? Mm-hmm. They love when, like we were talking about this a second ago, when people feel bad or angry, they're not looking to alleviate that. They're not looking to feel better. They're looking to validate those feelings, like you said, or feed into it. This is the genuine problem with all of social media, right? This is why it's the cesspit that it is, because it's all just really, as the kids say, bad vibes, right? Even if you got the more wholesome, profiles out there.
Right.
I say that because they're really not.
Because you are right on that.
Because let your profile and your position get higher.
Look,
what's going to happen is people want to bring you down to their level so they can feel like they can leapfrog you, because the higher you get, the more people trying to tug to bring you down to a level. And the first time a major person makes a mistake, it's like the end of the world. And because it's like, well, they make one mistake. So they try to bring them down to their level because everybody wants to be in a negative state. They want everybody to be where they are because there's certain people who don't have the work, the drive, the motivation to make themselves better from a positive standpoint, as opposed to just bring them down with negative.
Well,
that's social media.
There's destroyers and there's builders. Destroyers can't build and builders don't destroy. Right. So naturally the destroyer wants to destroy whatever the builders build and bring them down because they're not going to build up to it.
Right.
Like you just said. It's just, I use social media technically because YouTube is technically social media, and I use Pinterest because I like that's where I get a lot of my sci-fi art. I really like sci-fi art.
Yeah.
That's
Pinterest is straight.
Oh yeah, like real quick. This is really off.
I know we kind of.
But real quick, real quick. Like on Pinterest, if you've ever heard of this tabletop RPG called Lancer, it's about mechs, right? It's a tabletop RPG. You make your own character and all that. It's got some really good art. That's why I use Pinterest. Well, those are the only two social medias I use. I don't use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or pretty much anything else because it's just terrible. But I'm not saying you shouldn't use it. I mean, I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking about the whole reason I don't use it is because of what we're talking about. I don't want to open it up and the first thing I see is so-and-so did this.
But I mean, for me, it's kind of like one of those weird things because I use my social media like a news feed. Some good happens, typically the social media is going to get it first at this point. It's more of a quicker version of getting news.
Twitter's the new Fox.
Yeah, exactly. Twitter, Instagram is your quickest way to get any type of information dropped onto you, and there's which is a good thing to a degree, but you just can't just feed into it. It's not one of those things that I'm constantly on. I am not constantly on Instagram or constantly on this. I may jump in there, but like, oh, well, here's what's going on. But I'm not sitting there like 4 hours, 5 hours. There's certain people,
their whole life.
Their life is surrounded by Instagram. Perfect example. You're trying to talk to somebody. Even as a hey, what's up? How you doing? Everything good?
No,
they don't
because I know what point you're going here.
They don't ask you, hey, what's your phone number? Mess you directly. What do they ask you? What's your Instagram?
Yeah, they'll say like, what's your Snap?
What's your Snap? What's your Instagram? What's your TikTok?
Because think about it, Instagram is a cool slang. So of course,
no, it's cool, but you can get the same information
with a phone number
me directly. Call me, text me, as opposed to me being on Instagram. Because here's the thing about me, I'm not on there like that. Now, I know in certain instances, if I don't get a direct message, I know I can hit certain people on Instagram, but I know that's how they're dialed in. That's what they do, and I know that's kind of like, and I know all my kids.
Wait, hold on. You said all your kids? How many
All
kids
my
you got?
kids. No, I mean not my 2 kids.
Wait,
Not my 2
because he
kids.
scared me the way he said it. All my kids. I'm like,
Not my 2
he want
kids.
all my
I'm
children
not-
right
no,
there.
I'm
They
not-
got 7.
No, I'm not talking about my 2 immediates.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Glad-
just kids.
thank you for clearing that-
I'm
clarifying
talking
that
about
for
the
me.
kids in general.
He's talking about his other families.
I'm talking about the kids in general. But kids in general.
Okay. Thank you for
What
clearing that.
what they say is that, this is their medium. And I know they're thinking like, well, you're old school to a degree.
You know what's messed up?
But I get it. I don't poo-poo on it per se. I just say that it's just how things have evolved. It's like, dog, we really talking about Instagram where you could literally just call me directly.
Well, like-
you could literally just text me directly.
Well, like, check this, man. I mean, people, they look at you like you're a serial killer or something, or like you're crazy if you say, let me get your number.
Right.
Right? They look at you like, what, are you trying to kill me?
Right. Because I think it's because again, and I get it, because the problem is that, the number, your phone number, your phone number.
People treat
it's personal.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even say.
I get it.
They don't even say phone numbers no more. What they say? DMs.
That's part of like, well, let me DM you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But why would you could DM me on my social media,
Mm-hmm.
but you could get the same result if you just message me.
And the thing about it, they treat their phone numbers like it's their social security number.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I will get my messages quicker than I would get any DM on any platform because I'm just not on them like that. But as I know other people, their lifestyle.
I mean, no,
revolves
I
around
agree
it.
with you. Like, only time I see you on the gram or anything, it's just like if we posting about the PVC, or if I put something like, "Oh, new episode coming up," tag you,
and
you
but
on
see,
it.
but
you
see,
look
my
back.
thing is, I use it as a newsfeed.
Yeah.
So because I know other people, they do a lot of posts, not just you. My family, a lot of my family, they're on Facebook constantly, Instagram constantly. My kids, they don't really post. They kind of like me. If they see something on there, they'll tag it. Hey, can my dad, they'll do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even post crazy like that because, like I said, my whole thing does not revolve around me just posting. Now I get it.
That's it.
Now I get it. But now I get it though.
Is it best with you?
That's fine.
Okay.
But I get it to a degree. Is that, one of the things everybody says that, since you're on this journey doing the podcast and everything, you should show more. And I'm gonna tell people who said that to me, whether in person or on my social media, duly noted.
Mm-hmm.
That will be done. And I get it. Because it's like, look, they just want me to be more visible
They
so
want
other people can
they want to
see.
show more skin?
No, not
Take the jacket
not,
off.
Hey! Y'all wanna see the kids? Y'all wanna?
Oh, he want Hulk Hogan on you. I am a real American.
Do the neck crack. Do the. Should I hit him with the Scott Steiner? The buff bag. The buff bag. Who did
You gotta go to Total Package. Like,
No. The buff. It was the buff bag. Who did the?
Oh yeah. No, that was Scott Steiner.
Well, that's Scott
Big
Steiner.
Papa Pump.
Yeah. That was
The freak is over it.
But again, social media, I understand. Duly noted, I get it. But my thing is, it's just for me, I've been on social media for such a long, if you saw like how long I've really been on it, I've been on there for like years. But I never really posted or really went crazy.
Cam was there when dial-up was a thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah. No, I
That's
was
not a
there,
joke.
I was there. No, I was there during the MySpace era. I was there during the LimeWire era. I was there doing a lot of that
Damn, I miss
stuff.
LimeWire.
Cam, you remember burning CDs?
Yes.
Burning
I
music.
remember people's computer messing up because they would be getting viruses trying to download music from LimeWire before Spotify.
Yeah,
before all this stuff.
blue screen, right?
Yes.
Boy, those was days.
Yes,
LimeWire,
that's
download
why
music,
and
put it
the
on your
music industry
CD.
got so messed up because they never caught up because the industry was basically leaving them behind and they just caught up. But that's where social media has kind of caught us here. But a lot of it now, at first, it was there. Really like in the first inception of like social media was there to be a positive thing. Now, I know people hate Zuckerberg, but I understood Zuckerberg's concept about yo, I wanted this to be the great unifier for a way that people could kind of come together and not be as invasive and as like aggressive, like a people like that person to person. Maybe there's something to like bridge the gap for the people who are uncomfortable meeting people face to face. I get that from Zuckerberg. This is why Facebook, in its first inception of Facebook, was super smart, because it was really a positive space. Now, not so much. He didn't mess around and
You
drop
see a
some
ghost?
stuff.
No. You mind if I plug my phone in? So remember that thing's almost dead.
Okay. Anyhow, don't mind us. We
Alright,
like I said, we are live.
Victor
Don't worry.
Victor got some women he gotta go see.
Yeah.
Oh, he need his own Reddit, baby.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh, you know me so well, Polly.
So.
I brought some damsels to me.
Wow.
I'm gonna get them some haggis.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Speaking of that,
But I got something for y'all.
go for it.
Hold on, what?
No, speaking of that walk we did yesterday was amazing.
That was great. You liked that one machine where you just wiggled.
Yeah, the wiggle. That's basically what it was. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. I didn't want to get off. But anyway, go ahead, Cam.
But going from there, this goes into a topic that I was kicking around. So on social media, where I know we talked about it on the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, when we were talking about the girl in the gym and all that stuff, and she was like shaming the dude for doing the right thing, right? No, nothing happened. But I want to tag to that point. So she was mad. Remember, she was all mad because she thought the dude was like really approaching her and stalking her and all this stuff.
Yeah, being a creep. Well, that's
Right. So being a creep in their terms. Let me ask this question. Now I know it's kind of a weird question, but I'm gonna ask it because I think it's important to that part of the conversation.
What is it?
In this day and age,
Yes.
where and at what position would you approach a female if you liked her?
Well, that really depends.
In the area or what?
I'm just in general. How would you approach a female and where would you approach that female? Because again, one of the things in like what she was saying is that, well, she was so offended that a guy would even speak to her.
First of all,
in
there's
the
nothing
gym, right?
offensive about that. Here's my thing. The right answer is you go anywhere.
It should be,
It should be.
but that's not the case.
So really, I don't really have a solid answer on that one
That's what I'm saying.
Because basically, I'm just
Go-
saying
you know exactly what I'm
anywhere.
gonna say.
No, go.
Church.
We're gonna go there too. I got answers for all this. by the
Right
way.
now, church is your best option. If you're a man of faith, you're going to want a woman of faith. It seems pretty counterproductive to want a woman who is problematic in her spiritual life.
Yeah, no.
No. We're gonna.
But you're not wrong.
No, we got.
But
Let me
Go
get
ahead.
them too. I got
Okay.
both of y'all. Don't worry.
I'm just saying, the top one, church. If it's meant to be, that's where you're going to.
Should be, but go ahead.
Right. That's the ideal. Other than that, generally, like at the park, that's not a bad spot, I'd say. You'd have to be a little more tactical in how you do it because you don't want to seem like a creep. It's a shame you have to really approach this very carefully because if you do it wrong, you're going to come off as a creep.
But see, here's the argument for me. It shouldn't be like that because if appearance is everything.
Of course.
So when you step out of your house or wherever you live at, and generally you want to look your best as always. Whether where the position you at, whether you're at work, whether if you're working out, or whether you just going for a regular walk.
Walking advertisement, by the way. We got
Now, and women, I'm not gonna say women do this badly because as soon as you step out your house or wherever you stay at, you always gotta be 100% on your best point. Whether it's in your makeup, hair, or way you dress, appearance is everything. I get that. Now they do this on purpose because they know for a fact that every guy, I don't give a damn, every guy look, whether it's a relationship or not, they're gonna look. And
Look, I'm gonna
go ahead. No,
Go.
But you can't false the guy. I mean, sure,
Can you? Because are you gonna fault the guy for shooting his shot?
you should basically you shouldn't.
But they are.
But they are. But if a guy just like just glancing like look like Nick, you okay?
Yeah.
Is that smoke bothering you?
I think it is now.
Hold on, let me move it. Incense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, your words brought me to tears.
No, he
Gotta have a smell.
he crying.
Crying.
Yeah, it smells good. You're too busy. Your eyes are watery.
Sorry about that. That's a strong scent. I'm sorry. But here's my thing. Every guy's gonna look. Every woman's gonna look. But women do it on purpose because they dress. Sometimes they dress for success, or sometimes they just dress just to get the attention of
Well,
the
I'm
man.
going to say this, man.
So-
Yoga pants aren't pants.
So now goes back to the topic we were saying about the girl at the gym.
So-
she knew what she was going to be attracted to when she stepped out of the house and put her gym clothes on.
That's part of it, but that goes into what the original question is. If they felt so offended, where do you meet women? You said church. I got
Okay.
something for that.
Okay,
Okay,
this my-
doctor.
I'll say for me, and I've done this, and I met women in coffee shop, Starbucks. I met a couple
Okay,
women
that's a
there.
fair one.
The beach,
That's another good one. Kind of falls around with the park. Yeah.
yeah. Restaurants,
Okay. So
malls,
So would you say like restaurant / bar?
yeah.
So let me ask this question.
What?
How would you know or make that approach to somebody who you don't know at a coffee shop?
So at a coffee shop, well, it depends. If they're by themselves or with somebody, that's an indicator of something. Because if they're hanging out with somebody, depending on how that's going, maybe you don't want to interrupt it, right? But if they're by themselves, say they look like they got a laptop with them or something, you'd want to approach it because you don't want to interrupt somebody who's doing something important. But how important is it if you're doing it at Starbucks?
That's not true. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of money being made at Starbucks. That's why I'm gonna keep it tall with you. But go ahead.
I'm just saying.
You ain't lying about that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But hold on, not to cut you off, I got something on that. So I'll say it all depends on the stare, the eye contact. Because as soon as you make eye contact, if your eyes just glancing like how we looking right now, so if a female is staring at you and we both staring at each other and have not moved eye contact, that starts a conversation. But another thing too, it can even be something start up or you compliment on something, not even just at her. You compliment something. Oh, hey, that's a nice watch you got on. That leads into a conversation. Oh, hey, I like your sweater.
So I think what you said was really important because that was something I forgot to factor in. Eye contact.
Yeah.
That's really important because if you say we lock eyes with random people all day, every day. It's part of the job. It's part of life. It just happens. As dudes, we give the nod, right? That's just it.
ALG. Hey, can I come over? Come on, young blood. But with
women, if it happens more than once, especially more than twice,
it happens to me a lot because I'm sorry, I have pretty eyes.
Of course.
I'm gonna talk that talk.
Well, don't play yourself down. Not only are your eyes pretty, so is that wonderful face of yours.
Thank you.
Bring it closer to the camera.
Yes, sir. But no.
He set you up so good.
Yes, he did. Good one, brother. And I said, yes, sir. I almost said, yes, master. But I got yes, sir. But no, that's what I'm saying. That's a real fact and a real statement. It's factor right there.
And I'm glad you said it.
Eye contact. Because I don't even have to really say nothing to anybody, especially a female. If we just staring at each other, first thing you know.
Eyes say a lot.
Yeah. That's why everything. Your eyes is everything. Your eyes just you got eyes in the back of your head. Your eyes shows you where you're
I'm sure
going.
you've heard the phrase, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But make your point. Because I'm ready to hear
Oh,
this.
yes. So, Cam, let's lay it on us, brother. What do you got
I'm ready
to
to
say?
hear this.
So now I always feel that because the way social media is set up, it goes back to what we pretty kind of led into inadvertently, but it kind of ties into this. You get fed a lot of negative in every single space that you step into. Meaning that girls are always going to be weirded out no matter how you approach, even though you can make eye contact. But you don't know if that eye contact means that, ooh, hey, what's up? Or this is a big burly black dude and I'm scared.
Not with that face.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, you're right about
I'm
that.
saying, you don't know.
know.
The answer is you really don't know. And so then when you go up there, let's say they're feeling you, then it's like everything's cool in the game, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say they're not. Then the risk, so you're running a big risk because now it's either, before it was like, well, I'll talk to the girl, I'll either be cool, get a conversation, or B, I get rejected and I walk away. Now you're in a space where it's either like, A, we make contact, she likes me, cool, I may get the number, the Instagram or whatever y'all want to get on these days.
Go old school.
Yeah. Or
here's my credentials.
Or it's your creep. She's running to the Starbucks manager, making a scene. Does that make sense? So the risk of it is so much higher for something that could potentially may not. But you see where I'm going, right? So the same
off camera we talked about that.
So the same thing in the gym. Same thing. You would think we have like interest. We're in gym, whatnot. She look good. I'm on my get right. You know, maybe I should approach.
But see, women do that too. Women do that too.
I get it. But see,
because they'll see a dude like, dang, same thing. But do you think a dude would be like, oh, she being a creep?
A dude is not going to sit there and make a big deal about it. Whereas a female, if they like the, if they like the dude, then everything's cool, right? But if they don't like them for whatever reason, it's not the fact of, oh, I'm sorry, maybe it's not the right time. They don't know how to politely have that conversation. It's one of those, they have to escalate it to make a scene. Does that make sense? So the risk is too high. So if you can't meet them at the coffee shop, take your thing. You can't meet them at the gym where you think that those are two really ideal spots. Let's take your premise, Vic. Church. Now the thing about meeting women at church, because you think that ideally, perfect world situation, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what the hardest thing is to be thinking about when you're at church? Is dating.
Well, of course.
Because you want to know why? Because your first mentality is that I'm trying to get right with God. Now you want somebody to be on the same page with you, which is great.
Right. No, I agree with that. Yes, church is for worship. You go there to worship. You don't go there for yourself. You go there to worship the living, ever-loving God.
Facts.
That's the purpose of church. However, there are plenty of church events.
Oh yeah, no, I'm getting there. Oh no, I promise you,
Please don't talk about
getting there.
Please don't talk about
no, I'm getting there.
I'm begging you, please.
No, I'm getting there because there is certain events where there is singles groups and Bible studies and all that stuff. That is absolute fact. But the fact of the matter is that even in that environment, it's still highly scrutinized because here's what happens in that environment. So let's say you do like a girl at church. Now, your relationship is the topic of conversation. I don't care if you're in a big church.
Especially at church.
I don't care if you're in a
black church.
I don't care if you're in a little church or a big church. The bigger the church, maybe you could kind of separate that a little bit, but
you can't.
As soon as they think that, oh well,
now that a black
this person is dating this person, it's
already at church.
You are the topic of conversation, and every single thing that y'all do as a couple. And
that's the worst place to go for gossip. Is at church.
No. Every single thing that y'all do in church
shouldn't be that way. Yeah,
is scrutinized. That was weirdly enough with my ex-wife. Weirdly enough, that was one of the things that really was the struggle, was because when they figured out that we were together and we were in church, it was all eyes on us, even though there was more couples.
Was this the white wife?
Yes. This was more couples.
That's important.
No. I know what he meant.
Yeah.
So there was more couples there and more couples that was developed before and after, but guess what? It was just one of those things.
At a black church.
No. That's what it was. The church was mixed. But even with that being said, it was in scrutiny because now you got all eyes on you. I'm not talking about just the people there. You're talking about the ushers, the pastor, you assistant pastor.
Don't be the main ones.
So every single time y'all do something as a couple, y'all sit together, y'all get stared at. They're gonna hold hands. You can't hug. You can't do this because it's all scrutinized. So that's why I said it's tough. I'm not saying that you can't and you shouldn't. I'm telling you that the risk is you're risking the scrutiny. And don't let y'all so happen to break up. Then it's worse. Then it's like, well, he's a bad guy. She's a very bad girl. All this stuff. And don't let them see you even remote. Don't let them even remotely see y'all showing any type of affection. You wanna know why? Because it's scrutinized. And that's why I'm saying this stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying church is one of church is one
dangerous.
No. Church is one of the best places to meet people
initially.
But you gotta understand the risk is that the scrutiny behind that is going to be tough. So let's take that.
Because I could say it like this: it's you got your normal church dude. Don't even go to church, just go with his, either with his grandfather, his grandmother, or whoever he go, whatever assembly he go to. Now, people at his church look at him, he's ghetto, he's a, and he ain't gonna never amount to nothing. Versus the church girl in there.
And that's the other thing.
Now you got the hood dude,
because you got everybody
like the church girl, and the church girl like the hood dude.
No, because you got everybody's opinion. And everybody's opinion is going to get into your heads. Like, why are you dating her?
Yeah. Or why you dating him?
This? Now, if they feel that it's a good couple, don't let it ride. But if they feel that there's any type of thing that's going to hold them back, no matter what it is,
it's going to get talked about at church.
The church biases come into play. Well,
don't let it be
she's a PK, a preacher's kid, and he ain't. She's
valedictorian.
No. She's maybe one of those fast girls at school, but the dude is the youth pastor.
Yeah, I like how you switched to the
turntables. This happens both ways. But then you got everybody's opinion about it, and in that church is one of the places that I promise you will get more conversation about what you do than anything else. Your relationship, they know about it. I guarantee you, everybody got an opinion. They'll pull you to the side. Well, you know you can't do this.
And that happened to me. Y'all
can sit with each other, but y'all can't do this. Y'all can, why are you dressed?
And that's another thing I used to hate about church. You're supposed to go to church to, just to go to church. You shouldn't go to church to get antagonized or
that's
little BS and stuff.
That's not a church. That's something that calls itself a church.
Right, but you would think that
you can't wear this to church.
No, you would think that you would be in church.
They know it was a dress code.
You would think that you would be in church and in a relationship, especially with like younger couples, that they would try to support it, nurture it, and try to like develop it the right way. And the answer to the question is a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they try to find the littlest thing to separate it because you still got the same. I hate to say you got the same worldly bitterness in a church setting, meaning that. Let's say the person is in there that they so happen to like, and they're in a relationship with somebody else. That shows, and they're going to be very vocal about it. Let's say that.
Okay. So let's take that. Let's take that for example. So say for instance, like they was going together, right, and they still happen to break up. Yeah. And now the next day or a week or two, that person show up with a new person.
Then it's still scrutiny.
Both ways.
Right. Then it's scrutiny because again, you're under the.
So now they say, they broke up, but it's wrong for him to bring a new person to this church who and knowing his ex-girlfriend.
Because like I said, that's what makes it hard to.
And I've seen that happen a lot.
It makes it hard to find a person in church because it's under scrutiny. I'm not saying it's a bad spot. And there's been a lot of great marriages and relationships that's been formed at church, but it's not easy. So let's take a different premise. What about work?
Awful. Don't do it.
No, I'm not saying that it's completely awful. I'm just saying that the risk at this juncture is super high. Meaning that if let's say you was like trying to go with the lady and you like her and whatnot, and if everything's cool, it works out. Everything's fine. But let's say for one side or the other they don't. Let's say that you don't like that the female approach you and you don't like that female.
Okay, well let's see.
You could basically go to HR and say it's harassment and it's a problem. You understand how much of a risk it is? And you see this go both ways. And even though there's no harassment or anything involved, but the female could do the job, and I've seen this happen. Female could say, yo, I don't like him. He approached me, but because it happened at the job, it's harassment and try to cost him his job. So now you're costing the dude. Now you're risking your livelihood just for a chance to speak with somebody because people don't know how to communicate to tell them no.
Let's take this as an example. We're not going to use any names here.
Oh no, we're not. No, this is not. We're not
gonna
name
use
dropping
it-
at all.
No. But I'm using this as an example. You know, one of our good boys there is in a great relationship now. He seems really happy. I'm really happy for him. I'm glad it's working out, and I hope it works out. You know, I mean, homeboy there, he's got a smile. He's getting fatter because that's how you know it's
We ain't
good.
gonna talk about mine.
You know, I'm joking.
Say I'm getting fatter.
Oh no, because he getting
They don't
fat.
hear this. They don't hear. I'm fat now.
Nah, you know I'm just kidding.
It's, you know, it's love.
But you know we love you, brother.
You know, we need to get you back on here. But
See, you already name dropped on accident. See,
It's okay.
he name
It's
dropped on
okay.
accident.
It's okay.
It's alright.
you can
It's
edit.
love. We
It's
know.
love.
You already know what it is.
point is, you know, I'm glad that works out. Lord forbid it doesn't work out. I hope it does, but if it doesn't, that's going to be much more difficult now. Now I know the words risk and reward,
but you gotta.
but when it comes to the job, this is like you said, your livelihood, right? And it's not getting easier to find work out there, right? I just think it's too delicate to tamper with. You know, if you want to be like, you want to hang out after work, you want to be friends, that's fine. We can do that. That's okay, right? But when you want to get something serious like that, that changes everything.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now. You gotta kind of know if you're in any situation. I mean, like I said, right now, because the divide is so difficult, that you really just gotta.
Well,
You really gotta be really. You gotta be either really willing to take very strong risk, or you're going to be sitting on the sidelines for a long period of time. And a lot of it is because, like I said, it's what social media has fed in regards to relationships.
it
And that's
also-
kind of where this goes to. It goes really to that gym thing. It goes into what you see in a lot of social media is that it makes it very hard to
I'm
make
pretty sure.
It makes it hard to make
I'm
an
pretty
approach.
sure that anybody who gets in that situation can live with the choices as well as consequences too.
But
But
it's difficult to find.
Fine.
Because like I said, because let's say you're at a coffee shop and you see somebody who's like, oh, well, she may be cute. The hard thing about it is that, dude, you're not just calculating, well, am I dressed right? Am I this? Am I that? You're calculating, well, if I actually approach her and she says no, is she going to make a scene? Does that make sense? Because now it's you get rejected. You know, your rejection is not just a rejection in front of maybe one or two
but
people.
sometimes
that's there. No.
sometimes some dudes do take it overboard.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not
So-
saying that dudes don't.
That's
I'm
the
saying
problem.
that, but everything is on camera, so that means that your rejection is not just rejection in front of that person at that time. Your rejection is basically a story for their social media feed to get them some gas because it's like, well, this dude came up to me, but he was kind of ugly. He was bumming it. He's about $130. And it's a social media feed. Now it's a story. Now your whole stuff is all embarrassed because she decides to make an example and a story out of you versus you just shooting your shot and getting out the way, even if the shot's a miss.
now, like you said, everything now has to be a spectacle. It has to be a spectacle. This is a very recent thing too. Right? It's always been somewhat volatile, but never this bad. Because like you said, views are the new currency. So when they see an opportunity, and most of them are looking for an opportunity to put something on their page or whatnot, to rather garner attention, whether good or bad, even bad, infamy or fame is still attention.
That's a
right? They don't care. They just want people to look. So that's why you have a lot of these overreactions, right? It's to garner attention.
Right.
And it's a shame it's that way. It's really a shame. Because I feel like, honestly, I don't really think they feel that offended. Maybe they do. But I think they know, oh, here's my chance for some clout.
Right. And the other thing is that if the dude, like I said, if they're getting approached, like the girl in the gym, if that dude was cute, you're not having that conversation that way. You know what your conversation piece is? You're still gonna put them on there, but what are you gonna say? this cute guy, he approached me at the gym. He was being real helpful. He helped me with my weights. He did this stuff. Here's what the dudes. Now, dudes don't really do that stuff. Dudes, on the other hand, is going to be like, they'll tell the boys, hey, yo, I met somebody. She cool. We may hang out. It may hit their feed, but it's not going to be a whole story around it. Because
But,
we're not. Because
no, but
we're
no.
not in
Just
the,
say,
we're
say,
not
say.
in the, we're
Wait,
not
hold
in
on.
the
Time
business of
out.
embarrassing them.
Let's clean that up. Dude gonna say this. Hey, homie, I met a baddie at the gym, man. She was a 10 dime piece. Me and Shorty might go pull up later on. That's how that
Maybe,
goes.
maybe, and, even,
that's how it's gonna get more.
and even then,
Yeah, it depends on the dude. Yeah.
and it,
Yeah,
and it
that-
depends-
thank you.
and even then, it's not necessarily going to be a story. Meaning that a lot of guys ain't putting.
That's a group chat. That's not social
That's
media.
not even a group chat. That is like amongst their boys. They made it like, hey,
At the
look,
table.
we made some time up.
Play some
yo,
dominoes.
Hey,
Okay,
yo, I'm at the.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna bring up dominoes. You killed me.
They got
but yeah, you
Yeah,
got caught up. You
it's-
get caught up in the guy moment, guy talk.
Yeah, it's like one of those. Hey, what's up? I met a female. Hey, she cute. She not cute. Oh, she dope. When we gonna meet her? That's literally how that conversation. That's literally how that conversation goes, right?
That's thinking like a man.
The females think like that too, but what
Yeah.
they want to do is
This is all-
they want to broadcast it for everybody to see, good or bad. So even in a relationship, what do? When the relationship go good, they put all it out there. When the relationship go bad, guess what they do? They put all that negative out there because they want people to gravitate towards that negative.
This dude, I
My
know he
this
was. He was.
dude is this.
He was.
This
this.
dude-
Do you remember
Yeah.
that? Okay, so obviously you two have at one point seen the TV show Friends, right? There's a scene. Yeah, of course. There's a scene that's kind of encapsulating what we're talking about, right?
Gonna be this way. Cause
Why did we start this man?
I'll be the way.
I worry about you sometimes.
I'll be there for you.
I'll be
Anyway,
there for.
Let that man go. Let him go.
I'm sorry.
Let him go.
I just know that song. But
anyway,
that's a perfect example.
there's a scene in that show, right, where you got a group of you got all the girls, right? They're all around drinking wine, and they're gossiping, right? They're gossiping,
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
but then it cuts.
Oh, it is. I'm dead serious. That is the whole premise of that whole show.
That is Sex and the
But
City.
my point is there like
Look at
there
that show too, by the way.
they keep digging into the like details. They want details upon details upon details. You know, they want to hear more and more and more. It's just gossip, right?
Yep.
Then it cuts to the guys. They're all eating pizza. They ask, "Did you kiss? Yeah. Was it done? Yeah. Great. That was it."
Yep.
That's still relevant today.
And again, I'm not saying there's nothing. It's just.
I'm not pointing. I'm not
It's just-
saying that there's wrong. It's just we are men and women are two different creatures.
Yep.
We are absolutely two different creatures. This is by design, obviously, right? You've heard of this phrase.
Don't
Men
say men
are-
are from Mars and women
I'm
are
gonna
from
say-
Venus. Don't.
No.
Man, I hated that stupid book. Anyway,
No, but my point is that we are
different.
We are different. That is, like I said, by design.
Yep.
Men are. I mean, dude, we're simple creatures. You know, that doesn't mean we're dumb. You know, that does not what I mean. Simple does not mean dumb. Simple as in we know what we want to do and we're going to do it.
Right.
That's it. And some women are like
You
that,
are
but not a
who
lot.
you are.
Exactly. But with women, there's a lot more thinking involved. Not necessarily useful thinking, the term overthinking. Right? Not all women are like this. Right? Of course, I got to put that out there. You know,
My save right there.
No,
You could have kept it 100. You mean? I mean, you could have kept it 100.
But-
you know?
nothing. He all right.
you know, but my point is,
Not all of them, but go ahead.
yeah, men.
I'll say that for a fact.
Yeah. Men, us, fellas, we derive off logic and reasoning. Women derive off of emotion and reaction,
Man, stress.
right? And stress, well, with emotion. You know what I mean?
That's emotional.
Yeah, but my point is that's the difference. So that's why we always, since the beginning, Cameron, this is why we've always had these clashes like this, right? It's even in the Bible, right? Because when it talks about the creation of men and women, and this is after the fall, you know, what's the first thing that happens after they eat the apple? I'll tell you what happens. they start blaming each other
Yep.
immediately after the fall, right? And we still blame each other. It has not gotten better. It's only gotten worse.
That's true.
Right. That's the whole thing. Where there's never going to be peace and harmony between men and women. I'm not saying there can't be loving relationships. That's not what I mean. I just mean as a whole because we are two different creatures. You know.
But the problem is that when you shouldn't have to be battling fronts for something that could be a simple yes and no, if that makes sense.
Because it's all part of the curse of sin.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I'm fully aware. This is literally just for the YouTube and the people on Twitter.
Because this ain't getting straightened out until Jesus comes back.
Oh yeah, no, that's the whole fact. All it's doing is just getting worse, but you just see the worst starting to happen, and it's like I said, it's literally because, if you're a single person trying to find somebody, it's really tough to go. Because again, you're battling so many different things now. Girls think that I'm competing for this. Girls are trying to compete for super high standard people.
You know
that
what's
are not
messed
right
up?
now. Guys are just competing for somebody who's going to give them balance. But the problem with that is that you're battling so many different things that could go wrong versus the things that go right. The risk is so high that people don't want to take it. Go ahead.
I saw this thing. I saw this a while ago, right? But it said, get used to dating in your 20s and being a stepdad, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, because
I'm laughing. Wait. I'm laughing because you're not wrong.
Yeah, because you're battling against. Because that's what you're battling is. You're always.
I wish it was a joke.
I mean, it's not because 90% relationships right now, 90% guys who meet females who already came out of relationships and have kids, so they already been there and done.
Because they already took in like.
That's why I love this line in the scene of Think Like a Man, where he said, and I'll use this phrase. He was like, she already been a couple of butt naked laid up necks. She looking for a father figure, somebody bring you back to kids. I love that line. Best line there is. And which is true. Because nowadays, most of the good women already been there and done that.
Well, see, that's the problem because their expectation. No, the expectation is that you have to accept that. But you don't have to accept it. It's the answer to the question. You really don't. The answer is we do, because a lot of guys, even though certain women, certain guys try to find a good. Sorry, I'll let you jump.
Yeah.
Certain guys find the good in a lot of women, and it goes beyond what they look like.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the sexual connotation, if that makes sense. It's the guys try to look for something that's good within them to try to make that relationship work, even though they may be forcing it. So, if that makes sense.
When I was married, before we got married, she already had a little girl. She was a baby. Now, I knew the risks and takes I was going to have to take if I wanted this relationship to actually work.
Yeah.
Meaning is, okay, we together, but you got to make sure this little one's accept you. Because if she doesn't accept you or this doesn't bond, the relationship ain't going to work.
Of course.
So I knew the risk take that I was taking to be with her and this one. And I'm not going to even say it was the best take because I fell in love with this little girl. Mm-hmm. Right. The best I mean. But at the same token, certain people wouldn't take that risk from both sides, whether if it's guy or female, whoever, because they know what obstacles or what consequences is going to come through. Not saying that it can always be good or bad, but they know the risks they're going to take. Now they know that what's the word I'm using for? The obstacle, yeah, you're right. Of being with this person, because now I'm getting good in because I'm cool with her kids, or I'm cool with his kids, but then later on the period of time, it might go bad but then it shouldn't be affecting
But see, the problem is because when you have that in particular, when you're dealing with kids in particular, it changes the conversation some. Which, like I said, this all what makes the conversation hard. So when you hear, I hate using this term, but I'm gonna use this term, so I apologize ahead of time.
Use it because you told me this before.
So when you hear these red pill people talk about, yo, I want to date somebody who is younger. The logic and the reasoning behind that is that they're not going to be as corrupted, quote unquote, or influenced, quote unquote, by other previous relationships or previous people as much as somebody who is probably 28, 38, 42. You know why? Because there's more people involved. Now, I'm not saying go be a pedophile. I'm not saying that either. Don't be stupid.
Yeah. Now here's the problem, Cam. Inadvertently, in trying to avoid corruption, they're spreading it.
And that's the tricky behind it, because a lot of these red pill people, what they've been doing is corrupting these people, like, you know, showing, like, basically having these young people around them, but it's not just one of them, because they have a whole harem of people, a harem of women that they're rolling through, and then these girls get caught up like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be the only one for this dude, but this dude is tricking around with like 4 or 5 different females at the same time, corrupting all 5 of them. Then when they try to be with somebody else, they're tainted by how this dude responded and basically messed them up mentally.
I hate this. I hate that because
then you got to battle against. Then you're battling against their past, which is unfair because you should not be judged upon somebody else's doing. You should be judged upon your own doing. But you always.
I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this, and I'm going to make that point example because people's past should not affect people's futures or opportunities. I'm gonna say that right now. And that happens a lot, especially in public, especially at the workplace, especially when you at school or anything, because they like this person, but then they hear something, then sometimes they might get cold feet about that person, whether if it's good or bad.
Right.
But at the same time, you shouldn't dictate somebody's past because that's their past. I think people be fearing that their past is gonna bring in to the point of their future, whoever they met.
I got it, because it's just like the conversation. It's just like what we said about church. Same thing at church, same thing at work. Mm-hmm. Meaning that, remember we told you at church you're influenced by the other people who say something around you. At work, it's the same identical thing. You may be like, well, you may like this person at work, but you got all these people saying that, well, she ain't really this and she ain't really that. So now you're influenced and you're tainted by what these other people are telling you, saying that, well, she ain't that good, she ain't that good. You don't know what their ulterior motive is. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's another female telling you that. You don't know if their ulterior motive is she's trying to separate you from her because she really likes you herself. Or they may say, oh, well, there's another female who likes you. Why? Because they're trying to separate you from the person who you're trying to be with. You get this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. That's a real thing. That happens in a lot of different venues, by the way. But the reason why I say the reason why I say it's kind of messed up is because you shouldn't. If you really like somebody, you know, the outside noise shouldn't necessarily affect that. If God puts that person in your line of sight. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be super hard for you to. It's gonna be super hard for you, her, or anybody else to break that up. You wanna know why? Because the Lord put that person in your life.
And I'll say this right here, and I don't give a damn if anybody get mad or not. We all grown here. If that person you with, and that's the person you with, and that's what God chose you to be, shine it to the motherfucking fullest. I don't care how many haters you get on that. If that's the person for you, you walk hand in hand for that person. And I don't give a damn if anybody, whether if it's at a workplace, whether if you're in public, whether if you're going on family. If God put you in that position to be with that person, and it's working out, and it's good for both of you guys, whether what situation you guys been in, live it to the motherfucking fullest. But in Jesus' name, I say amen on that.
But in the same conversation piece, that's why I said it's a tough,
sorry for the language, but I have to say that.
Line. That's the thing. It's a tough line because you gotta clear the noise. But the problem is most people don't know how to clear the noise. Meaning that when I say by clear the noises, they don't know how to clear the outside influences. Mm-hmm. Meaning that You could have a good thing working, and then you got outside influences telling you otherwise.
Welcome. Excuse me.
Yeah, as you should.
As you
But
should.
here's the problem is that a lot of times you're not, because that outside noise sometimes come from people who are probably the most closest. A lot of times it comes from your parents. A lot of times it may come from like people who you like really value, who's close to you. And you will understand. I'm not trying to turn the corner on this, but I'm going to turn the corner on this a little bit. There is a big difference between positive people and negative people. You're going to have to really use some serious discernment. Sorry, big word.
No, I know what that means.
To understand who's who. Because there's a lot of people who they say they're positive and they're really not, because they conduct themselves negative. And they will feed you negative all the time. You just don't know it. You just think that, oh, well, we cool, we work together, everything, hang out, we good. But they're negative. And they're going to feed that negative into you, and it's going to drive you down and separate you from a lot of good things that's happening that is positive, because they want to make you feel like how they feel, negative. You got to connect with people who are positive. When you get into a relationship, you need to connect with somebody who is positive like you are. If you're a positive person and you're dating or married or somebody who's a negative person, guess what's going to happen? Ultimately, you're going to clash, because that negative does not match up with positive.
And I think that's why a lot of people like me, because I am a positive person.
That's what
and
I'm
I'm fun to be around.
Even
with y'all, because y'all wouldn't know what y'all was getting into when y'all first met me. But you didn't know if I was cool or not. But positive people, connection.
But again,
and I get this all the time, even with people, whoever I be with, it, man, Paulie a good dude. He know how to bring people together.
I said it.
But even protons attract neutrons, right?
Like I said,
I got some science for you. Even protons.
I do that too. I get that too.
I got you.
I get that too.
I got you, Jimmy Neutron. I got you.
No, he not. You really right about that.
But what I'm saying is like what you're talking about. At work, it's weird if you don't know Paul. I mean, that's the rep you got.
I said that before.
If they don't know him, that's usually a red flag about that person.
No, it's like what I said. Like I told y'all about me. Y'all didn't know nothing about me, so certain people would perceive negative. But if you actually set the time to even get a few words from me, guess what?
And that's where that social media comes in.
But see, that's the thing, because it's what's perceived versus what's actual. But like I said, when you're dealing with people, I don't care if you're dealing with them from a relationship, friends, job, otherwise. You want to surround yourself with people who are positive, people who are going to uplift and build.
Now, speaking of this.
And that's what I call facts and results.
Speaking of this, we're going to go into something we said we're going to talk about. You and I saw it on the way here. We brought it up before we started talking about this. The funeral. Now, I know what some of you are thinking.
What funeral?
Wait. The funeral. Well, not the funeral. A funeral. No. Wait.
I didn't go. What the hell's going on here? Who died?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
okay, go ahead.
What I'm talking about is earlier, me and Cam, when we got here, we saw a hearse and a convoy for a funeral. God be with that family. But I asked.
Wait, hold on. Not to cut you off. Was that the one on Alondra when you guys get off the 605?
No.
It was in front of your place.
Really coming out of the block.
Yeah, and me and Cam brought up.
Do
you think it's appropriate, if it just so happened to happen, to meet somebody at a funeral?
No, you ain't trying to be funny, but that goes to what we've been talking about the whole time. No. Oh. Ain't nobody trying to be funny right now. No, because
the reason why I'm laughing because
I was leading the conversation to get there.
That's the movie Wedding Crashers right there. That's why I'm laughing.
But
wow.
No. But see, Wedding Crashers was not met at a funeral. Wedding Crashers.
But it was a scene when they was at a funeral. They were trying to holler.
That is correct. But that leads into what we were saying the whole time. it's hard to meet a person at the coffee shop, hard to meet a person at church, hard to meet a person at work, hard to meet a person at a gym.
So-
You can barely
so
meet them at the
basically
beach.
that's at
So
funerals.
so are we? So is it? So A,
Sister, how you doing?
are we
You need a
desperate?
shoulder to lean on?
Are you desperate enough to meet a person?
I hope not. I hope not.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about let's say you're at a funeral. Let's say you're at a. Let's say it's not your family's funeral.
Well, no, that's the only way I can see this working.
No, let's say that you're at at one of your friends or at one of your people's funeral for like one of them. You're just being in support. But you so happen they don't have like their immediate family and stuff, but they have their friends and stuff who's there too. Let's say you in the conversation, my condolences, yada yada yada. How do you know the family? Oh, the family. She's a friend of my sister, yada yada yada. Whatever. And y'all start talking. But let's say that conversation goes from like a somber thing to, hey, why don't we hang out and get some coffee sometime? You doing it?
It depends on who asking.
I'm just saying. If you're in that situation, you
So you telling me if a female,
at a funeral,
if a female
you're
courses
all
you,
black,
okay,
you're all black.
That's when I look best.
bet on black.
And Wesley Snipes rule.
But if
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
At a funeral, you talking to a female. I know they ain't all black, but they still looking good.
I'm gonna go to hell for
Most
this.
people look good.
I'm gonna go to hell for this. But yes, I ain't gonna even lie. Yes.
Yeah, I don't really see a reason why not.
If she's asking. But okay,
Even if you
asking,
if you ask the question, like, oh, you ain't asking like, we gonna hit the draws in the back. No, I ain't saying that.
Okay, Tommy.
You ain't gonna go.
I ain't saying that. But
No.
Are you making the?
I will accept her offer.
Are you?
I mean, it's just.
It's
coffee.
not her offer. Let's say you offer it.
If I'm offering,
If you
I mean,
ask-
if
you ask it.
okay.
You
Paul,
ask it.
I'm gonna pick spot. Hey, girl. Listen, I got an empty coffin in the back.
You
I mean, you feel it.
Yeah.
You offering me some coffee?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Now let's make this a little more complicated.
okay, because
Let's make this a little more.
We're going really on this topic right here.
So-
Because this is fun to talk about right here.
Picking up chicks at a funeral.
This is the fun. This is
101.
I really
So
never heard.
let's say this.
I never thought of that.
So
That's
let's say
fine.
this. So let's say this. Let's say
Damn.
What if it's the widow? And she's like, it's like, Paul, it's just,
That is
I need some company.
That's a dangerous vibe. I mean, no, not a vibe. That's a dangerous way to go because sometimes it can lead to something good. I mean, real good, especially on the widow, or it can lead to something real bad. And I've seen that happen before.
Because, like,
Because the reason why I say it can turn good, but it can turn bad quick in a second because now the siblings see.
Now, what I'm saying is, how would
Especially, ooh, I hate that. Why we have to talk about that?
Because this is what I want to talk about.
I can't think. Help me fix
Cam,
this.
how would you respond?
Because
Right.
that is wow.
Cam, how would you respond? You're there at the you're there at the funeral.
this one. I'm there. I'm at the funeral.
All right.
I'm in my shop.
First of all, what we wearing? We ain't wearing all that.
I'm in my FUBU.
I mean, damn, I never really thought
I'm in
of
my
that. Like, you
FUBU.
really,
I
I mean, you really
No, I got
ballsy enough to pick up a widow.
No, let him go.
But,
Let him go.
like I said, it could be good. Okay.
No.
Because that's some scary shit.
Cam,
I'm sorry.
You're there at the funeral.
I'm at the funeral.
It's a sobered occasion, right?
No liquor.
Right.
I'm chilling.
Yeah, the widow's there. She's crying.
She's crying.
But she goes up to you and she just starts rattling off about how lonely she is.
I'm lonely.
But she came to you specifically.
Okay.
Can I say something before you even answer for that one?
Say it.
Please. So say that whole that.
No, I got it.
No. For me, wise. Before you
Okay,
answer,
Paul.
Rephrase the whole
Let
question.
me say it to you
Go,
now.
Paul.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
So, Paul,
Okay.
you're at the funeral.
Okay.
It's a sad occasion. People are mourning.
Okay.
Right? The widow is crying. She seems vulnerable, but she seeks you out. And she says, I just feel really lonely and I need someone to be with me right now.
Okay.
She's coming to you for that. Mm-hmm. Right? And she's like, as you're like, will you be with me? Not necessarily in that way, but she's coming on to you.
Okay.
What would you do? This is somebody who recently
Okay,
lost their husband.
so for that approach, for me, I would literally consider like, hey, let's take a walk. Let's walk somewhere. Maybe go get a cup of coffee, or just she just needs to vent. Maybe she just I don't want to deal with this situation right now, so I need a shoulder to lean on, in that type of vibe. That's nothing wrong with that. It don't necessarily have to lead to, okay, I need somebody like desperate now, right here.
We're not talking about
But
passion.
passion-wise. But just somebody just to vent to, just to, let somebody to cry onto.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
That's kind of where I was going to go with that. It's very
maybe you should sometimes need a shoulder to lean on.
It's a very situational thing because you got to understand the one thing.
And I've done that.
And for me, for one thing is that if a person is coming to you,
because that's my big thing. They sought you out specifically
because they know the person. They know the type. They not. I mean, but what if they know you or not know you? But they know. No, they might hear something about you, or
they know enough of you
to trust you, to be safe.
Even if they barely knew you, but they knew that enough. They knew enough of you to come to you to ask this question, or like I said a little while ago. The Lord put people in your path for a reason. Yeah. So let's say that the path was supposed to go this way. Now, it is up to you as the guy, the person who is getting this information, to process all this information the right way. I know the funny thing would be to say, oh yeah, we're going to do all this. No. Yeah, but the realistic thing is going to be, you gotta be in
I've seen this. This is a movie, and you know what movie? I can't get the name of it, but long story short,
I want to say, what's it? Death at a Funeral?
Not Death at a. Well, it was similar to Death at a Funeral, but it was one of them hood funeral movies where the lady
Medea's Funeral. It was in that too. Yeah. But be it as it may. But my thing is that she's coming to ask you. It's going to be your discernment to be like, really discern what that conversation should be. Now, that conversation, you may think that, well, she's a widow, but she's still a widow.
Answer me this.
She's still a widow. So you got to always understand that, first and foremost, no matter what, she has to grieve that whole portion, even if you're there at the same. Even if you're there helping her go through it, you got to let her grieve. So that means that y'all shouldn't be trying to date. But I know people who do that.
Burns.
That boy,
sorry.
Anyway. Cam, answer me. Yeah, I'll be fine. Okay. Cam, answer me this.
I'm sorry, just a little, he's getting emotional, and it's good emotional.
This motherfucker's incense be burning my eyes. But anyway, Cam, answer me this. Is rejection on the table? Would you decline her? Is that an option for you?
Now, if she's trying to escalate.
The proposal. Okay, so let's say the proposal.
If she's trying to escalate, and y'all know what I mean by escalate.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all seen enough training. Y'all seen enough Antoine Fisher.
Like you went there. I can't believe you went there.
Why would you go?
Don't.
But y'all seen enough Antoine Fisher. If she's trying to escalate, the answer.
I would have rather you went on how to think like a player. If you're gonna really talk that talk.
No escalating.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's literally the term. It's no escalating in that situation.
Because you know where I'm going with this.
No, but the thing is, if a woman is that vulnerable,
you would say she's not in her right mind.
You almost have to assume it as such, and you don't want to try. You don't want to be the one that you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to be the one to take advantage of it. That makes sense. It's kind of like in the same conversation piece. Like if you were to meet a female at a club.
And she drunk.
And y'all get home and all this stuff. And then y'all like...
Yeah, if anywhere in that time she passes out, it's not going to happen.
Come on, Cam. Please don't go there.
You already know what this is. Because now no. Are you going to sit there and just take advantage?
No! I don't need a case.
You shouldn't. But I'm going to tell you a lot of people who do.
Yes, I know. There's a lot of.
Let me just keep it tall with you. There's a lot of people who do because they were like, well, they're drunk, they're this, they're that. She was willing not to take advantage. Whereas,
no, that's clear. That's clear stuff. It's both. It's both ways.
Whereas you could have used enough discernment to say that
The second
if I
time.
didn't have enough consent from a person who is of sober mind, maybe not. But the problem is, a lot of people in this hookup culture, they use the being drunk as a platform for them to get their.
drunk, so you know.
They use it as
She
a
let me
platform.
smash, or
Yeah,
he
I
smashed
use
me,
that. She was
even
drunk.
though he knew I was drunk.
Now, if she was
Yeah.
here's the thing, because if she was to double back and say, "Well, I was drunk. I really didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what I was doing. He took advantage of me."
No, you didn't.
No. It's still a problem.
I mean, it's still a problem.
No,
but,
it's a problem.
Yeah,
Because
but
now you're either labeled one or two things. You either labeled as no, you're labeled as somebody. Well, yes. Secondly, but firstly, you're labeled as somebody like, well,
not saying all that, ladies.
No.
I'm just using that as a fact, but I'm keeping it 100 though.
He took advantage of me during this time, and it could be some jail time associated with it, or B, he did this, and he's a really bad dude for taking advantage of me while I was drunk. Because you get this stuff all the time. Because people, when they're sober, they have all these little stupid regrets.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
They have the regrets of this
The
happening
night
afterwards.
before, she may have been done. You both may have been drunk.
Right.
You did what you did, and in the morning she's gonna regret it, even though the night before she was willing, because she regrets it in the morning.
But then certain
The whole script is flipped.
right. But certain times, if they're down, a lot of times is. A lot of women,
I really don't want to touch this.
You already have.
A lot of women will plot this out purposely.
It's other women.
No, they'll plot this out to. Well, I really like him, but the only way I could do this is if I'm drunk, if I'm really sober, I'm too scared.
Then you don't really like him.
No, because it's not the fact they don't like him, they're scared.
They're scared, but sometimes
so
being drunk is at their best.
Exactly.
That's not good.
But the problem
Which is
is
not good.
right, because the problem is that you only get certain results out of them when they're drunk. Meaning that you have to get them drunk or high or a combination of both just for you to get them to be in a good mood or in a good position to do something. I know I hate talking about this.
We have to talk about this.
No, because I'm telling you because
I've asked.
Everybody has. That was a combination.
You know what?
That was a culmination of how my ex was at the time, not my ex-wife, but my ex after that. That's how it was like that with her.
Sometimes that's a natural. That's a spark.
I mean, for them, it's like it gets them. It gets them
in the mood.
It gets them riled up. It gets them going. I mean, it's provocative.
You ever had drunken sex? I mean, I've done it, but look. Let's change the subject.
No, you scared now?
No, I'm not scared because I know I've been in this situation. You've been in this situation.
Get him drunk.
No. But I'm just using it. No, that's a fair fact because sometimes, but it goes both ways.
But see, this is why a lot of things happen. This is why the club is the club. This is why everybody says, "Oh, the best place to hook up with, the best place to meet somebody is at the club." But the problem is, a lot of times at the club, you're not getting the true person half the time. Half the time, you're getting the person. You're getting the person who is
somewhere to go when you know you want to go get some. But
right.
That just keep
right. But you're not. But see, a lot of relationships form there. But then you're like, well, why is it so toxic? Why doesn't it work? Because it only works when the liquor's flowing. When the Remy's in the system, ain't no telling. Well, that's what they be young. I'm a pimp by blood, not relation. I replay. Y'all know Jay-Z. He said it.
In the club getting tipsy.
Can't keep the little model's hands off me.
Hey, here goes the flows to the fence to the fire. Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
But see, the problem is you shouldn't have to do that. So when you talk about somebody who's in a funeral situation, or like somebody who is a widow, you kind of have to approach
that church funeral
because mentally and emotionally, they're not in that space.
Kingdom Come. That's what I was thinking about.
Kingdom Come was like that.
Well, that's a perfect example.
Because you gotta be bigger. Your mind gotta how they say what's it thin line between love and hate?
Ooh,
your mind can control what your dick.
Damn, Cam, you really went there. You got me repeating. But that's a perfect. But that's
But
just
your
a fact.
mind has to control what you think that.
Well, of course.
Shout out to Bobby Brown.
That goes all the way. You can't let the flesh be in charge.
Right, but see,
But-
the problem is
the
a
problem-
lot,
no,
a lot
let
of
me-
people get caught up because you're like, well, we're talking or this. She's giving you she's pushing that
She's
on
throwing it-
you.
she's throwing it out
She's
there.
basically throwing it out there, even though, but mentally in that situation in particular, when you're at a funeral, mentally. She's not in the right. She's not in the right position.
Yeah, because she only thinks about one thing.
So she's just throwing it out there because it's her way to offload and offset. But
To get her mind off the
death and off everything that happened, you know. And sometimes you
It can be good or bad. That's what I say. It can be good or
and all I
bad.
can say is that sometimes you just gotta be the bigger person to say, nah. And if it's something that is really meant to be in that regard,
It'll happen when
it
it's
will
sober.
manifest down the line. But
Well,
in
no,
a more
they're not
of a
drunk at the
sober.
funeral.
No.
Well,
But that,
yeah.
sober is not just a drunk thing. Sober is like emotionally sober, meaning that emotionally capable.
I'm saying if you go to the
of
funeral
processing-
drunk, man, that's bad.
no,
A lot of people
emotionally
do.
capable of processing
And high, too.
situations. Because a lot of people think that drunk is like you gotta be emotionally capable of responding to
Or,
this.
sound of mind.
State of mind too.
Right, but you have to be that, and that's the tough thing. Because a lot of times you're
Facts and
dealing,
results, baby.
but a lot of times you're dealing with people who they're broken. But when you're dealing with broken
I'll get that
people,
on your fingers, facts.
No, because that's what I mean. It's,
No, I know.
You got it. The fact is, people cannot admit to where the state of mind is of whether what they want or not want. Meaning is that I know what I want and I know the risk I'm going to take. So I know what I have to do. Now, the risk is if I'm going to holler at this girl, whether she accepts me or not, at least I took the risk.
and
So
this-
the fact,
and this is where
and then
you're
the
gonna-
fact is, it's not so easy because the only thing in her mind is, oh, he just trying to get slide into my DMs, but he's not really trying to holler at me. But then, at the state of mind that brother really was trying to holler at you because he really thought you was interesting, whether what location you are at, he just thought, hey, she looks good. Let me go try to talk to her. Now, goes back to what you said with the girl at the gym. She knew the risk she was taking when she came out the door, and she knew what she was with. She knew what she was doing.
But here's what makes that even suck even more because now, so if we were to pull up at the gym right now, us three, we getting our get right
gotta
on.
do that one day.
We
I
mob
wanna
in.
see you hit
we,
the bars.
we mob in 3 deep, right? Females looking by, and now she's all intimidated because she sees us three pull up. We may give her
She see Victor
no.
walking
We ain't like giving her. We ain't trying to holler at her. We ain't trying to do that. But we just see her walk by.
Can't hit her with the reels.
No. We ain't doing all. We ain't doing all that. We just walk by. We're getting ready. We're just walking to one of our stations, right? Let's say it's a busy gym. We gotta wait for them to get their job done.
Yeah.
So now they feel all offended because like, dang, it's 3 dudes staring at me and all this stuff. And so they go through this whole little things like, maybe I'm not her flavor of what she looks like, what she wants physically in a person, right? So instead of her saying that, instead of her taking
my
the
Kool-Aid and all the flavor.
yeah, but instead of her being like just
old school
bypass
one.
it, it's just like she's gonna make a scene about it. So now
So we-
it's hard
so-
for us to
so-
work
so-
out
so basically
because
what you
these
said-
females are trying to make a scene for
So
something
basically-
that we're just going in there to get our slack some weight to get up
So
out there.
basically, we like the dudes from we Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, and David Attenborough and Boomerang at the gym. They just hit the thing.
Exactly, but
We just waiting our
But
turn.
I don't want to be the one to be like,
you
dog,
doing it,
well,
man?
I don't want to be the
Why
one
you-
to be like, well,
why you doing it?
everything's under scrutiny just because we're trying to work out. If that makes sense, because it shouldn't be,
Be
like
like
that.
that, yeah.
Because just because females are in there, that doesn't mean that we're innately trying to holler at them. Does that make sense? Just because you sitting there, we're not trying to holler at you.
Everybody's not Bad Santa. Everybody's not Billy Bob Thornton
just
sitting at the
because-
bench watching women at the volleyball and they panties. Like
Just
he's a
because
corn
you
dog
wear
drinking the bell.
just because you wear a spandex and a tube top, that doesn't mean we're trying to holler at you, ladies.
It's literally just because there's one leg press. You've been on it for like 25 minutes. When are you gonna be done?
I mean, yeah, even though you look good, that still doesn't mean we're hollering at you. Quick glance and we out of the way. We're waiting on you to finish doing what you do. And I hate even reiterating that point, but that's the state that we're in right now. And that's why I said, it's difficult because everything that you're doing now, those risks are like super magnified. The simplest of things. You may doing your reps. That girl walks by where you're doing the reps, and you just see
So-
her walk by, and she's gonna be up here like, why are you looking at me?
So, what's the facts and results on that topic?
So here's
Give me the fact.
So the fact of the matter is
All
that
facts.
so yeah, everything's fact. So the fact of the matter is that when you are a single person, you gotta understand that it's gonna be very difficult in every situation because the risks are going to be super high. The risk is going to be so high is that a lot of people who are regular is going to be very difficult for you to even approach a lot of these regular women. Meaning that I'm not saying that these upper echelon stars, because that's a different conversation. You talk about regular women, people whom you probably working with. It's going to be hard for you to approach in certain situations because the scrutiny is going to be super high.
Now, the result of that.
The result of that is that, look, are you willing to risk? It's really the answer to the question. Are you still going to be willing to risk? Because here's the thing. Now you're not just risking just the rejection. Now you're risking reputation in certain instances. You're risking livelihood in certain situations. You're risking, being a social media story in certain situations. I'm not saying not just at the gym. That could be at Starbucks. That could be at Red Robin. That could be at work. That could be at church. That could be at the movies. That could be at the park. That could be at the beach.
At the bowling alley.
That could be at the bowling alley. That could be at the club. Every spot that you're
Skating ring.
Every place that you go to, the risk is super high.
Even Applebee's?
And the reason why,
even Applebee's,
and even the reason why, because
Magic Johnson skating ring?
Exactly, world on wheels.
World on wheels. Get it right.
Get it right.
I'm sorry. That's another place.
It shows, but social media has shown
Don't ever
separation.
change.
Huh?
Don't ever change.
Oh, I won't. I'm on character. I can't help it.
But social media has shown the separation.
Yeah.
That's the problem that you have.
And that's the fact.
When we're talking about what TikTok does, TikTok divides. Social media has been so divisive is that it's almost to the point where they show all the toxicity because they don't want younger people especially to be together. Because you know what you do? Here's your whole thing. What's the quickest way to slow down a population? What's the quickest way to slow down the population?
Turn off the Wi-Fi.
No. Control the marriages and control procreation. Meaning that younger people don't like to have kids now.
You know what? Yeah.
But
I'm starting to see that now.
But here's the problem with that. So if you're slowing down the kids rate, where's the money coming? Where's the money coming from? Where's your population coming from? Who's building the next generation if you're not having enough kids to support that? We lose people. We've been losing people daily.
Well, yeah, it's like every generation there have been less and less kids being born.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to get to the point where China had this problem, where there was a lot of seniors, right? But there wasn't enough young people to fill the spots of all the seniors retiring.
Right.
It's a really bad problem.
And you know what? And a lot of people, a lot of cultural people, a lot of people who's really traditional thrive on that because they want to make sure whoever's going to lead the next generation is at the right state of mind with who can lead it. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen, and you see this a lot in the movies too.
Yeah,
and you see this a lot, like traditional family goes by that, lives by that. Like if this, especially Samoans, for God's sake, not being a racist, they live on the tribe thing of whoever leads this tribe has to be at a great state of mind, whoever they put in that seat. Meaning that's whoever put it at the high table.
Right. But the problem is you got all these things being thrown at you, and it's really just like it's showing a divide.
And it gets thrown at the younger generation so bad, and which it shouldn't be because they do accept it. Like meaning is, oh, okay, well, I don't want you to be with this person because this person ain't bad. Good, this person bad for you. So now, okay,
right,
maybe this person ain't bad for me.
Why? Because people put their negative situation onto their kids, and that's the one thing. That's the one thing that I strongly guard against with my two. well, first of all, shout out to my kids, Minnesota, of course, shout out to y'all.
I always
love
get
y'all.
kitties
Oh, the
anyway.
kitties
Yeah.
is good, but
Can't wait to meet them.
Yeah, the kitties is good. Yeah, they're going. I know my son Q wants to sit down with us, so when he gets back in
Oh
town,
yeah, when he comes down, we're gonna go to the range.
we're gonna definitely sit down and
Oh
do
yeah,
that
pow,
for
pow,
sure.
pow, pow. All right.
But
Hey, first of all,
I really
don't be yelling. Hey man, you don't know what you're doing, man. Don't be. Hey, Cam out of ammo. He out of ammo.
Hey.
Cow, cow, cow.
But the one thing with my kids though,
I thought they said look out. Cam shooting up everything.
one thing with my kids, I always try to guard against not like telling the toxic things about like what happened between their mom and myself. I could tell them. I said if they really want to know, I would tell them. But to answer the question, I really don't push that on them because I don't want that to be their determining factor of them getting into their own relationships and dealing with their own
And you see that a lot too, and that's a lot of things why
I would never
relationships fail because they live on the
because they
and I'm always the sin of the father or the sin of the mother always passed down to the sin of the child, stuff like that. But it shouldn't be because certain people basically live their life based on their family or parents' mistakes, and it gets hit on them. And sometimes they can't find a man or a woman, or they can't stay in a good relationship because all that negativity got thrown at them at a young age. Because you shouldn't. And the meaning is you should not put burden on your kids or what happened to you as a parent or as a relationship, anything, regardless, whatever you go through on it.
No matter what I went through in relationships, I never put that upon my kids. Meaning that I basically try to show that no matter what I feel, no matter what I'm currently going through, what I went through in the past, all that stuff, I would never impose that. Now, if they ask questions about it, I would answer the questions about it. But I would never be the one to say, don't date this person because, or don't do this because. Even with my son, he was, telling me about one of these females that he likes and stuff. And first of all, I was like, cool. At least he was grown enough to come to me and have that conversation. A lot of parents don't even get that part. He was at least willing to tell me. My daughter was at least willing to present her first boyfriend to me. She didn't have to do that. I had to go Will Smith chitty chitty bang bang on the dude. I had to because I was waiting.
Any father gonna do that.
I was waiting 17 years for that conversation.
And I just told one of my good homies too. Shout out to my boy Ricky. He just recently gave birth to another beautiful baby girl a couple of days ago, last week. So my shout out to him and his family. And I told him, man, you got another girl, man. You cursed. You gonna have to go Will Smith one of these days. And he said the same thing. I'm gonna raise my daughter's curriculum.
But they were willing to present them, and I was like, look, don't make me have to go in here and do something I don't have to. But you went 50 Cent then the D's. And no, I didn't have to.
You walked in that room.
I didn't have to bring him into the.
You had to squad up in there.
I had to bring him into the garage because if I had to do that, that would have been a problem. I was scared him off too bad. But
you got me and Victor and D Williams sitting over there.
But I never wanted to impose.
Let me talk to you, young blood.
Even though, like in relationships, I have failed enough of them. I never want to impose that on the kids. If that makes sense. Because I want them to kind of experience that, and then when they go through situations, I want them to ask me, Dad, how did you manage this? Why didn't this work? Why did this work? What makes you better now? What makes this worse now? Ask me the question, and I'll tell you. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I'm working on it. I'm not. I tell people right now, I'm not a perfect product. I'm just
facts and results.
I'm just a bag of dust putting trust in the Most High. I know how it is.
Man, talk that talk, slang that slang, big pimpin'. I hear you over there sitting over there.
But speaking of people who have passed away, I have to kind of mention this. Prayers goes out to the family and the group De La Soul.
Yes.
They have lost Dave Jollister, basically True Goy the Dove from the group De La Soul. For me,
peace, man.
For me,
that hit heavy on me right there too.
De La Soul is probably the group that I probably listen to the most out of any musical group. First it was Run DMC, then it was De La Soul.
They made some good music.
And they made some top flight music. Now I understand that, that De La Soul as a group was very underrated. I know people like, De La Soul, they weren't really that good. No, De La Soul still makes music even to this day, and they were super relevant. They had so
Just
many.
me, myself, and I. That's my favorite song.
My favorite song from them is called "The Business," and
Oh, that's a good
Dave.
song.
Oh, and Dave. I mean, Dave Yogurt. I mean, Trugoy in reverse. His name was Yogurt in reverse.
Yeah.
He
Just
said,
me, myself, and I.
when he said, "I speak divine of God theories, no need to be high. Always exhale the facts down, inhale lies. Say the greater man gain to bounce off my losses, so I can earn the acre, the ounces, the horses."
Oh,
This,
man.
I'm
Taking
like,
it back right
this
there.
dude.
I know you was gonna say that line,
Dave was. They were super smart.
but he was more.
They were so.
No, for him, I knew he had a whole lot of good vibes in what he said, especially when he used, because he'll switch it off. One minute he'll switch it off for rap, and that's saying he put a little prayer into it, a little God into it.
But see, the thing about De La and Dave and Paz and Mace was that, they were they were the smart talking people. They were the knowledge and the juice.
Glasses. Okay.
They were the knowledge and the juice and the smart people in a time when it was like gangster rap. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when it was like gang,
they was on the positive
drugs, they were always on that.
Positive.
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than selling drugs. It's bigger than the gang life. In the time, in the era, in the 90s when it was all about gang life. That's all you heard in the 90s was like gang this, NWA this, Snoop this, Dre this, Jay-Z this, Biggie this. All that is gang life, drug life. But then you had a group like De La Soul, and you had like Dave and Paz, and all they talk about was like, here's how we're trying to be
positive.
better.
Yeah. Positive message.
They were always trying to spin stuff in a positive manner. The best you got from them is that they smoke weed. Outside of that, is that they always talk about, hey, the women that we like were fat. Song called Baby Fat, by the way. They did it. They did a whole video about it. It's kind of funny.
But they did a lot of especially for communities too.
But a lot of their stuff that they talked about was always about positivity and uplifting. And so, for me, hearing about that is tough because, like I said, De La Soul was like, that's my group. And losing even one of those members was really tough. So, but I definitely want to throw a shout out in regards to them.
So,
Anywho.
any thoughts? Anything?
I think we've reached the end of the episode. We had plenty of say today.
Any final thoughts?
Well, not really, except I hope you found our episode enjoyable today.
Pizza. We ate some Domino's.
That's Caesar's.
I know.
Pizza. He ready to eat the rest of that pizza?
This man ain't got no loyalty. He'll eat any pizza.
I really don't have nothing to say. I really think we cleared every little topic right there.
Y'all had fun?
I mean, just know that facts and results exist. And, if you're willing to take a risk, whether if it's good or bad, you took the risk. So what? Live your life. Don't always be on the negative side of people of thinking that, this person do this person can't do that, or this person's a creep. Maybe he's not a creep, or maybe she's not a creep. Maybe she's just, looking to meet somebody, And rejection. Okay, good. I got rejected. Walk away. Live your life. You still have to be you.
Don't let your past be a living past.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Yeah, I said it. I want TLC.
If you don't know what I mean
And
by
I'm
what I
going to
say,
other brothers, but, go ahead.
if you don't understand what I say when I say don't let your past be a living past, the past is what it is. It's behind you. But it can stay alive if you let it live in your heart and your mind. Don't let that happen. Let it be where it belongs, behind you. You got to live in the present. That's how it was designed to be. God literally designed it for us to live day by day. We don't live in yesterday. We don't live in tomorrow. We live in today. Right? So that's how you want to do things, obviously. Obviously, I'm not saying you should forget your past. There are plenty of useful lessons there that you should not forget. And I'm not saying you should neglect the future, because eventually the future is going to become the present. Right? But don't let your past be alive. And don't let your future be your anxiety. Simply live today.
And if you don't know, now you
know. Cameron.
I love that song. That's the beat to be Notorious B.I.G.
2 things. One, don't get cute.
Why you say that?
Don't act like y'all gonna sit up here and mess around with no widow. Now don't get cute. I don't want to hear nobody in the comments say, hey. No, let me flip that. If y'all ever did something like that, y'all put that in the comments below. I need to know. Because if y'all were crazy enough to mess with a widow.
The sad thing is, I think and God rest my uncle soul. I think my uncle did.
Man, if y'all did something like that, I want to know. Don't get cute. Don't be better than that. You know, the other thing I would tell y'all is this. You know, don't let social media corrupt you so much that is warping your mindset in regards to like women or men or how y'all should be interacting with each other. You know, find ways to kind of bridge that gap, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot of great dudes out there. There's a lot of great women out there. Don't act like just because you see it in social media that it's only like 1% of women who are great and 1% of men who are great. No, it's not that. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's about 75% of men and women that are great. Yeah, there's like 5% that are in the upper echelon, and there's maybe about 20% of y'all that's trash. I'm gonna keep it tall.
I mean, to put simply, know when the screen ends and the world begins.
Right. But understand.
I like that.
But understand that, you know, there's good people. Don't let
Say that again, Mickey?
Know where the screen ends and where the world begins.
I like that.
Yeah, you gotta know where, you know,
shit, I like that.
Real life is not just behind screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really like that. Yeah. That's really.
And stop hiding behind social media. And just because y'all can say stuff and y'all think there's no consequences, there's always consequences to your actions.
Can you say that? I'm sorry. I really like no.
Where the screen ends, where the world begins.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just where the screen ends and the world begins.
I like that. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well,
I just had to hear
that
it.
would be probably the title of the episode, by the way.
Hey, I'm good with that.
But besides that, though,
put in the subtitle facts and results, because we did mention that, and Paul came up with it. He deserves to be.
At least it ain't D's and nuts.
Wow. Well, that's another topic for another subject. We're gonna keep the hood right there.
We're gonna get to the jokes part of that conversation at some point.
There's somebody missing from this table. We're gonna go there. Go ahead, brother.
But anywho, y'all know how we do, man. I appreciate every single one of them. I appreciate
it. We 85 South North. Shout out to them. That's where we going.
Shout out to the 85 South team, man. They be doing good things too. But anyway, you know, y'all know who we be, man. It's been what's this, episode 43, Laying Pipe with the PBC crew. Y'all know how we do. Appreciate every single person who was jumping in and out on the Twitch podcast, of course.
Thank you guys so much.
And when y'all get a chance to watch us on the YouTube, we appreciate each and every one of y'all watching on the YouTube page. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and all that stuff on both platforms, by the way. If y'all want to see us live, ask the questions.
Only just begun.
Hit us on both platforms. We're growing. We're doing a lot of good things right now. So we're doing really well. So we appreciate y'all. It's definitely a privilege and an honor to do this for my man Paul, for my man Vic. My name is Cam, aka Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh. Like always, it is God above everything. Till the next time, family, we will do this again soon.
Much love and respect.
Salute.